Society says it's time to bring the podcast back. Self-love is sometimes telling yourself to get the fuck up. You knew who I was when you met me. You're making excuses for yourself because that is easier for you to accept than failing. Oh my god, I hate men, fuck men, I'm a lesbian now. Like, it could have. Life is hard enough, okay? I'm not gonna be the first person to call me ugly, and I'm not gonna be the first person to tell me no. Actually, in 2027, we're turning lemons into lemon drops because can I get a shot with that? Hey divas, long time no talk. I definitely didn't expect to leave you guys in the dust. Life started to life, okay? I moved, which is so exciting, and I've been living in unprecedented times practically all of my 20s, as most of you guys have as well. And so I just needed to take a step back, but I've still been paying, so I decided, you know what, I'm gonna come back. But actually, it wasn't just the accumulating credits I had. It was actually a lot of you guys that would come up to me while we were out and ask me, when's the next episode? When's the next episode? When's the next episode? And I'm like, you know what? That kick in the ass was definitely needed because it showed me that not only do you guys listen, but you guys care. And so I thought, society says it's time to bring the podcast back. Hello, we're here. And other exciting news, I recently turned 27. I had the best birthday ever, just filled with girlhood and sisterhood. Shout out to all my friends who came near and far to help me feel so loved and celebrated. And I'm really excited for 27. People say it's kind of scary. They call it like your Saturn return year. And if you don't know what that is, anytime I'm in conflict with someone or something happens, it's hardly ever the conflict itself and always the principle for me, because I know that I wouldn't treat you that way, so it's like, why would you treat me that way? It's just ridiculous. Well, Google is free, but I'll tell you just a snippet. Basically, your Saturn year is usually around 27 to 30. You've probably heard a lot of musicians talk about their Saturn return because it's fucking crazy. You go through a lot of transformations, a lot of people in and out of your life, but ultimately the goal is to just recenter yourself to who you are. And clearly it seems like I've already experienced that. 24 and 25 kind of made me want to grab a sharp object and drag it across my throat. So I'm hoping that 27 is a year of bliss for me. But with that said, I wanted to share the 26 things I've learned in 26 years because I feel like we can all learn lessons even from each other. I know I've learned a lot of lessons just from witnessing other people, and I'm so blessed that we don't all have to learn every lesson through experience, but also through observation. And I really do believe that everything that happens is for a bigger purpose, a lesson, or a blessing. So let's get into it. Number one, starting over isn't failure. I'm sure you guys know. I decided to walk away from my dream career of being in news, and that was really scary because I had to break my lease, because I didn't have a non-news job lined up. I had to move in with family for 6 or 7 months. Stop it. 6 or 7 months, and that was just I don't know, I guess as a high achiever it felt like failure for me, but honestly it's always hindsight is 2020. Fast forward, I couldn't be happier with where I am today. I have literally no regrets. I've been at my new job for almost a year. It'll be a year next month, and I love my job. I love my coworkers. I'm living in my dream apartment because yes, I moved in my dream city. I've always wanted to live in Dallas, and I have zero regrets. And I think as scary as I knew as it was, I just had to trust that, my feet were gonna fall eventually and they were gonna hit the ground eventually, and I just had to trust that, and I'm so happy that I did. I have literally no regrets. So number 2, the cost of community is inconvenience. I feel like this has become so popular in recent years because I think we're all just kind of fed up with people who want a village but don't know how to be a villager, or whatever the case may be. Of course, we live in an individualistic society. Society is literally breeding us to be individuals. That's why Ubers exist. Obviously no one is complaining about real life getting in the way. Not everybody works from home, not everybody makes 6 figures, not everyone can afford to take off from work, but it's the little things I think that people are missing, those connections. Picking up your friend from the airport instead of them buying a $50 Uber one way. I have a friend, shout out to Narali, who reached out to me when I moved, and I had hired movers to get everything out of storage, but I still had a lot of stuff at my family's house. And when she reached out and asked if I needed help, it meant so much to me because I think I had like maybe 3 to 4 trips in my little Chevy Malibu, okay, Miss Cherry. And I lived about 30-45 minutes away, so that would have been 3 to 4 trips, 30-45 minutes there and back, over and over and over again. And because she came and she has a bigger car, it was one trip, and it meant a lot to me. Like, she drove out of her way to help me and then helped me unload our cars, and that meant the world to me. So shout out to her. That's community. And also community is sometimes sacrificing your sleep. There are times when one of my girls will hit me up on a Thursday saying they want to do Thirsty Thursday or whatever the case may be, and maybe I do want to go, but I know that I'm mainly going because my friend wants to go. And sometimes that's what friendship is. It's give and take. And I know that I'm sacrificing sleep for one day. It's not going to kill you. I'm not going to get my full 8 hours of bliss. But I'm sharing this moment with my friend and making memories with my friend. And I'm fully aware that when I make the sacrifice of going out on a weekday, I'm going to be tired the next day at work. But that is the cost of community, is inconvenience. And if you want to have a village, you got to be a villager. That brings me into lesson number 3, be the friend you want. I had a friend who was going through a really, really difficult time in her life, and we were long distance, so I couldn't actually be there for her in spirit. And one thing that we shared a love for is Housewives, all things Housewives. And so when the latest season of Atlanta came out last year, instead of just texting about it or sending audio messages responding to and reacting to every episode, I created a flyer and I sent it to her, and it was a Real Housewives of Atlanta like FaceTime watch party. And then every Monday after that, we would watch the episodes on FaceTime together and just have a key, I feel like it was like that 1 hour where like we didn't have to think about life's hardships. We could just take our mind off things, enjoy some reality TV mess, and just have a good time. So I really hope that she enjoyed it as much as I did. Just that little extra effort to not allow distance to get in the way of being there and showing up for your friends. Then also recently, for my 27th birthday, I hosted a slumber party themed brunch, and I loved it. It was so cute. Everybody came in their jammies. I decided to cook. Oh my god, child. Hosting is not for the faint of heart, okay? It requires so much energy, so much effort, so much money, but I could have easily just picked up a whole bunch of already made stuff, but it meant a lot to me that a lot of my friends drove hours and flew to come to my birthday, that I was like, of course I'm gonna make stuff because it means more. And I also gave everybody eye patches, and then I surprised everyone at the end of the weekend with a thank you card with a very detailed message for every person that was very individualistic to them, because I know what it's like to go on trips for people and it kind of feels like most of their energy is to a certain friend or two, and they're not really catering to everybody and making everyone feel like they are happy and appreciative that they're there. And I didn't want anyone at my birthday to experience that feeling, so just doing a little bit extra because I would want a friend like that. Number 4, it is always the principal for me. I feel like at our big age, everybody knows what they're doing. So for me, anytime I'm in conflict with someone or something happens, it's hardly ever the conflict itself and always the principle for me, because I know that I wouldn't treat you that way. So it's like, why would you treat me that way? You know, like, it's just ridiculous. I understand that not everybody operates on the same moral compass, but it's like, goddamn. You know, like, I shouldn't have to explain why your lack of consideration hurt my feelings. I shouldn't have to explain why you being excessively late all the time is disrespecting other people's time. No one should have to explain to you why you leaving them out consistently out of plans is hurtful to them. You know, at some point we all just need to learn to take accountability and look inward and stop glossing over the action as, well, it wasn't that deep. It is that deep for me. Okay, we are too grown. Everybody knows what they're doing. Number 5, I can't drive a U-Haul truck, okay? No more explanation is needed. I tried. I didn't make it out of the parking lot. I probably saved a lot of lives that day, and I'm never trying again. I learned my lesson. I'm leaving that to the men, okay? And that's on self-realization. I know better. I took that L. Never again, never again. And number 6, a little bit more on the serious side. Some people would choose to never speak to you again instead of having one uncomfortable conversation. This was a tough lesson for me to learn, especially more in recent years, because I consider myself a pretty direct person. Confrontation is uncomfortable, but it doesn't necessarily, like, it's not so uncomfortable for me that I'm like, I can't have this one difficult conversation. Like, I've just never been that way. I think that society deems confrontation as like a bad thing, or if someone is confrontational, you know, they're a red flag. But I honestly believe that people that can face confrontation head on are more mature than people that tend to run from confrontation. I believe that ghosting is like super childish, honestly, and more than that, it communicates that like you don't care enough about somebody to have just one uncomfortable conversation. But as difficult as it is and kind of like brain altering in a way, I think the biggest thing that I've learned is to separate my value from someone else's inability to communicate, because it is hardly ever your fault. And, you know, if it happens to you and you kind of felt like you were blindsided because you thought that person was a good person, they can still be a good person. They can still be genuinely kind, genuinely honest, genuinely emotionally warm. But when the going gets tough, their avoidance comes out during conflict, and that's not something you can see until conflict arises. So your judgment of character isn't wrong. You were just shocked by their behavior, which is normal. Some people don't know how to face things head on, and that's okay, but maybe those people are meant to be in your life, because if they know that you want to communicate and they don't give you the clarity, then that's clarity for you on your own. Number 7, show up for those that show up for you. Now, 26 was a huge year that I felt like I reconnected with a lot of relationships in my life. I can admit my toxic trait has always been object permanence, okay? I am not good at keeping in touch with people. It's hard. It's hard. Life is busy. We all have our lives, and it can be easy for things and people to just like go over here. Okay, I know. That is my toxic trait. I've already admitted it. But I felt like this past year, I really started to pour back into those relationships, and I got closer with my older brother. I got closer with my cousin Peyton, who was on the podcast. Me and her had such a beautiful cousinship when we were kids. And you know, as we got older, we both went off to college. We kind of just like did our own thing. But recently we've reconnected and we talk almost every single day. I love her. She's my girl. I also got closer with my Nana, my aunt, my sister. As you can tell, the theme here is family. I'm going into the next lesson, lesson number 8. Family doesn't have to be picture perfect to still be a blessing. Now, I'm not referring to toxic family dynamics. Anyone that knows me knows I'm the first person to cut somebody off of my family. I don't care. I will wish you a safe and speedy trip to hell, okay? I never played that. I guess my recent trip back home made me realize how blessed I am, even though, like, my family dynamic maybe isn't the most ideal, or like what my dream family life looks like. I think it's such a blessing to start to see things for what they are, accepting it, not necessarily from this like, oh, I want more out of this, but like accepting where you are with your family right now. Okay, lesson number 9. They were right. Walking does feel so good. Okay, my walking journey began probably like yours or most girlies on TikTok with the 10K steps, and it actually popped up on my FYP at the best time: unemployment. I had nothing but time to get those steps in, honey. And I also, again, was living with family, so I lived in this beautiful neighborhood where it was huge. There was a park, and then there was a park across the street, maybe like 5 to 7 minute walk just to get to the bigger park, and I loved it. I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous to walk. I'm a paranoid individual. I was like, somebody gonna snatch me up. But I just did little by little. Like when I first started walking around the neighborhood just to feel comfortable, I stayed, you know, I maybe walked like 2 blocks. Then when I started to feel comfortable, I expanded. I made it to like the neighborhood smaller park. And then one day I was driving and I came across like the big community park that's like right outside the neighborhood, which and I finally got the courage to walk it, and it became my favorite thing in the world. I don't know what it is, the sun, getting your steps in, and people watching. I love people watching. I love it. I love seeing everyday people do regular things, and I feel like it's just always such a reminder that like we are all living in our own world. We're going through our own hardships. We're going through our own amazing life monumental moments, and we're all just here still enjoying the little things in life, which is like being grateful for the health that you have, you know, being grateful for nature, and it's just like such a beautiful reminder. So yes, the slimming down happened, which I wanted, but also just being able to take a pause from like being on my phone all the time, worrying about all these tasks, and for an hour just being present, being in this moment, listening to a podcast, listening to a playlist. It's just so calming, and I can honestly say that every single time I'm done on a walk, I feel much better than I did before. Physically, mentally, emotionally, it just really grounds me. So if you haven't started your walking journey, get those steps in, queen. Okay, number 10, do not live by other people's schedules. Do things alone. For example, when I turned 26, I actually spent that birthday by myself. I went to the gym, I took myself to the movies, you know, the ones where you can like order a cocktail while you watch the movie, yes. And then I took myself out to dinner, and that was like one of my favorite birthdays. Like it was to myself, it was for me, by me, it was like nothing but self-love and celebrating me. Recently, actually, I've been going to events by myself, which sounds crazy, okay? The first time was kind of an the first time was on purpose. My friends were busy and I really wanted to still go to this little event, and so I just went. I knew that I was going to know people, so I was like, might as well go. I was nervous as hell, and I don't think anybody there noticed. In fact, anytime I started to talk to somebody there, they just automatically assumed I had to have been there with someone else. And then when I'd be like, no, I'm here by myself, they're like, really? I'm like, yes, girl, like I just got in that motherfucking Uber. It's not as bad as it feels. You just have to kind of force yourself to do it and not overthink, oh my God, I'm going by myself. And then once you get over that hump, literally no one cares and no one will notice. Like obviously I know introverts are probably gonna have a harder time, but don't wait on other people's availability. And since then I've done it several times after that, and it got a lot easier. Like the most recent time I did it, I wasn't nervous at all, and I didn't know who was gonna be there, but I knew I was probably gonna know people. And I also connected with new girls who we're now social media friends, and we've been talking about hanging out, and these were strangers that I just started talking to at one event, and then I ran into them at another event, and now we're just like friends and we're cool. And don't wait on other people's schedules to live your life. So number 11, self-love is equal parts grace and discipline. When I was younger, I want to say like 6th through 12th grade, I ran a tight ship, okay? I would wake up at like 5 a.m., watch the morning news. Mind you, the bus didn't come till like 7:30. I got up every single day at 5 a.m., watch the morning news. I would cry and beat myself up if I had a B on my report card. Like, honey, I didn't play. My parents didn't even need to discipline me about a B because I was already beating myself up about it. And then when I got to college, I gave myself a little bit more grace. You know, that's when I learned about self-love and giving yourself a hug and celebrating yourself. And baby, I took that and ran with it, okay? And post-college, living alone, not having anyone there, not a roommate, not a family member, like holding me accountable, well, baby, Grace became my middle name. I was Mariah Grace. It just became, oh, you know, you've had a hard day. Might as well have a couple of glasses of wine. Or, oh, you're tired. Just skip the gym today. And I had to realize that grace and allowing yourself to fall into bad habits is not self-love. Self-love is sometimes telling yourself to get the fuck up. You have to trust yourself enough to pour into yourself to be the highest version of yourself. Sometimes self-love looks like giving yourself grace. Maybe if you're a woman and you're on your period, maybe working out is just going for a walk or having a rest day. And then other times self-love is saying, you know what, no. No, you are not going to go pick up some fast food again. You are going to cook. You are going to eat the ground beef and the sweet potatoes, okay? Self-love can also look like getting the fuck up out of bed and not bed rotting on your off day and laying in your bed for 10 hours. Get your ass up. And number 12 is everyone should live alone at least once in their life. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about roommates, although I believe that it does help to live with people who are on similar paths, similar journeys, to like kind of be there, support each other. Obviously, life is expensive as fuck right now. Like, it helps to save a little bit of coin. But living alone, like completely alone for like the past almost 5 years has literally changed my life. It's so peaceful. First of all, you get to decorate your home as a complete reflection of you. Like, if you aspire to be married one day, at some point in the near future, your place is going to be a reflection of you and your partner. And that's why I think man caves and, you know, closet rooms exist, because that's like the one corner of someone's house that is a complete reflection of them. So pour into like your current space and make it be, you know, your goddess oasis, your diva dwelling, whatever the case may be. Make it a reflection of you. It costs a little bit more. Obviously, it's easier to just, you know, buy whatever, but when it really is a reflection of you, it's so special, and I feel like you take care of the things that you care about the most. As a single woman, it showed me that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Yes, ma'am. I became Barbara the Builder, honey. I built so much furniture in my life. I put curtains up that fell. I learned what anchors are for. Before, I would see those little plastic things in the little baggie and just toss it. Now I know. Now I know. It makes you just like such a self-sufficient person. And honestly, for the single girls, men love that shit, okay? When they see a woman that has their own, they're like, oh, she doesn't need me, she wants me. And the reverse psychology is like, then they want to provide more because they're like, she's had such a hard week, I know she's tired, let me just send her a little bit of money, let me take her out on a nice day. They love that shit. So that's just a little tidbit. Also, I think more importantly, living alone really forces you to like love yourself. Like, I love myself, okay? Myself, she is my homegirl of all homegirls. Like, I can be in my own company. When we had that ice storm in Dallas in January, I believe, I was alone for a week. And I did not give a fuck, honey. I was enjoying my time. And I really believe that people who are always on the phone or have someone over all the time, or they just can't be alone because they haven't faced their demons. When you can face your demons, journal about it, pray about it, meditate about it, whatever you do, and you can still just be in your own company and your mind can be silent and you just love yourself, that's like the biggest blessing. So I would highly, highly, highly recommend everyone to live alone. It just like teaches you that like you can be really selective with the people and the energies that you want in your life. You don't need someone to be around just because they're paying your bills or you're splitting bills with this person. You can really choose, like, if you piss me the fuck off, bye. I'm leaving. I'm going home immediately. Live alone at least once. Moving on. Number 13, learn to recognize yellow or red flags early on and act accordingly. Pattern recognition is so important because it not only keeps you from constantly attracting the same people into your life, but it can also prevent you from deepening those relationships before you're emotionally invested in them. So, for example, in my personal lifetime, I have attracted several insecure women. I don't know why. I don't know why. Maybe they like my energy and then they realize they hate it. I don't know. Last year, I told myself, like, I can't do it anymore. I refuse to let other people force myself to shrink myself to make them feel comfortable. Like, fuck no. No. You knew who I was when you met me. I'm just saying, like, you knew who I was. I've been the exact same person pretty much my entire life. Like, I still have friends from high school who call me, like, Queen Mariah. Like, y'all thought this was new? No, I've been this way. So don't try to, like, come over here and change the program, because I love myself, okay? I don't need all of that. Speaking of which, the moment that I recognized, oh shit, this is about to turn a way that I need to avoid things that I, like, excused before. I knew this girl, we had, you know, a budding friendship, and I had told her about me wanting to bring back my podcast, and she was really excited for me, okay? Then I actually launched it, and friend number 2, we were with friend number 1, and friend number 2 was like, oh my god, you launched your podcast, like, send me the link, I'd love to listen. Mind you, I'm a very observant person. Friend number 1 didn't say a motherfucking thing. Nothing. And I was closer to her. I'd hung out with her a few times. I supported her dreams and her passions, and I was just like, damn, like, you didn't have anything to say? Friend number 2, fast forward, she not only watched the podcast, she commented, she reviewed it, and she texted me on the side giving me my flowers. And then when we got around friend number 1, she was like, oh my gosh, you have to listen, like, it's so good. I connected with so many things that she was talking about, you know, the dream career and what's meant for you and when you should walk away from things. And friend number 1 was like, oh, I didn't know. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. We literally just had a whole conversation. And from that moment, I didn't personalize it. I was like, I see where this is going. I'm not shrinking myself for someone who I've shown up for, because I deserve friends who celebrate me, who make me feel seen, who make me feel supported without it feeling like a chore for you. I don't want friends who feel like they have to tolerate me or show fake love, because it is that deep. If you have a friend and they're chasing whatever dream and it feels like a chore for you to repost their content or to like their stuff, but it's not a chore for you to do that for other people who you are less close with, fuck no, immediate block. Like, I don't have time for that. So me and her were cool, but it'll never be deep, because I saw something that I would have overlooked in the past, and I was just like, nope. Okay, number 14, don't be so frugal that you miss out on life experiences. Baby, anyone that knew me in college, I guess I kind of did run a tight ship in college, because I didn't play about them coins, okay? My senior year, I had 3 jobs. Didn't play. And I missed out on a lot of moments. If it was like my line sisters wanted to go to like BJ's for like, it was like Pizookie Tuesday, bitches. The Pizookies were like, what, $6? I still didn't go. I think I went to BJ's once with them, and that was like their spots, honey. They were there every Tuesday. And it wasn't necessarily the Pazookies I was missing out on. It was like the relationship building, the community aspects of things. Last year I turned down one of my friends' birthday trips to the Hamptons, honey, because I was saving up on my I was saving money for my apartment. And honestly, I probably could have gone, but because I was staying with family, I would have felt bad if I was like, hey, I know I'm living with you because I'm saving money, but like, I'm gonna go to the Hamptons. Like, I kind of just was like, I don't know how they're gonna react to that. But then in July, I just made like an impromptu decision to go to DC to visit one of my line sisters. And it was super last minute, so it was expensive as fuck. But I just needed to get on that flight. I missed the original flight. And so I had to sit up in that airport. But I made it and I had so much fun. And it was such a key being in DC, honey. Like, oh, I'm a little rhymer. A little rhyme and a reason. I also got braids for the first time since I was like 8, and I honestly put it off because it's expensive as hell, but I just decided, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna get the boho. I'm gonna get the human hair boho, and I'm gonna treat myself, and I love the braids, and I just feel like if you really believe that money comes back to you in tenfold, just live your life. Spend the coin, book the trip, book the flight within reason, okay? Don't be trying to keep up with the Joneses and have $20,000 in credit card debt. But, you know, give yourself grace to live life. I feel like life is not just about work and saving, okay? Get up out that damn apartment and go book that flight and go be with friends and fellowship and just be a bad bitch in a bikini this summer. We're on boats, babes. Like, we're on the boat. We're driving the boat. Okay, this one is huge for me, and I tell people this all the time. I am a kind person. I am not a nice person. Being kind is genuine. Being nice is performative. It's people pleasing. You are disrespecting your own boundaries because you're like, but if I say something, you're the one that's pissed off. You're the one that's hurt. Speak up. Speak up for yourself, okay? One thing about it, I'm super kind. I match energy. I'm a genuine person. I love hyping people up. I love pouring into relationships with people, but don't get it the fuck twisted. In the words of my queen Aquarius twin, Kenya Moore, okay? She said, I can play nice, but when you try to shots fire me, I will match that energy. And I think we should all live like that. I'm very kind, but I will never let anybody play in my face. And I always encourage people to speak up for yourself, period. Stop waiting for other people to come in and save you and fight your battles for you. Stand up for yourself. I cannot stand people. I'm about to go on a tangent. Moving on. I think honestly that goes into the next lesson, which is you do teach people how to treat you. Contrary to popular belief, oh, I shouldn't have to tell them how to. No. You actually do. You teach people how to treat you based off of your actions and your boundaries, not just off of words. Even in the way that you carry yourself as a woman, like, I really believe that if you take care of yourself, if you take yourself on solo dates, if you take yourself to the spa, you probably aren't attracting a whole bunch of fucking loser men. Because they should really see you and be like, oh, I can't afford that. She got it on her own. And hopefully that keeps away the busters. Now there are some that creep through the crevices, okay? They got a little bit too much audacity. If you take care of yourself, if you care about yourself, that is a reflection of your boundaries, what you tolerate, how you treat yourself. And no one should even walk with a 10-foot pole near you if they know that they are not equipped to treat you the way that you treat yourself. Period. You see how these points just we're just dibbling and dabbling and going from one to the other? Because this brings me to my next lesson, which is boundaries are for you, not to control others. Who that one? As a fixed sign, honey, as an eldest daughter, this one, ooh, Jesus. It took a lot. It took a lot of growth and therapy to figure that out, because I just feel like I know what's best and you should do what I say. I'm just saying, like, But boundaries are for you. They're not meant to control other people. You can tell someone kindly, like, hey, what you did hurt my feelings, or this really triggered me. But if they continue that behavior, it's not your job to over explain yourself. They know what the fuck they're doing. They know you don't like it. They know it bothers you. They're doing it anyways. Over explaining it is honestly pathetic. Okay, it's like, and I hate to say that, but it is pathetic. It's like telling someone, like, I'm gonna leave, and then you don't. Like, now you just look stupid. And that's where boundaries come in, because if that's a non-negotiable for you, if you can't be with somebody who can go a day without talking to you, and you told them, like, hey, it really hurts my feelings when I don't hear from you all day. I don't feel like a priority. And they do it again, that's not meant for you to then over-explain where they had you fucked up. You leave. That's a non-negotiable for you. Now, if they decide they care about you and they want to come back correct, girl, that's on you if you want to keep going, or whoever you are. That's on you. You get to decide if they get to have access to you again, but at least they know that you're not to be fucked with. This one is a good one, and something that I also live by, which is do it scared, do it afraid, do it tired, do it broke. I don't care, just do it. Whew. When I was in high school, I started a YouTube channel. Please, for the love of God, I need to go actually private that account before I publish this. I started a YouTube channel, and I could have used the excuse of, oh, I don't have the best camera equipment, I don't have the best mic. No, baby, I got that camera on Christmas, and I made it do what it do, honey. I was on iMovie with it, okay? Wasn't nothing fancy. When I started my podcast in college, I had an Amazon mic, a 2015 MacBook Air, and a dream. That was back before podcasts were on camera, so you could really just do that shit from the comfort of your room if you wanted to. I remember when I solo anchored my first show. Oh my God, that show haunts me. It was so bad. Oh my God, like, I was so nervous. My legs were shaking. And if you didn't know, one of the ways that anchors control prompters is with your foot. It's like a gas pedal. So imagine your foot is like uncontrollably shaking and you're trying to scroll. Oh my God. And then the freaking system glitched and the prompter went all the way to the beginning. Baby. It felt like a humiliation ritual. But then it could have never gotten worse for me after that. Like, I did it scared. Like, I became a weekend anchor at 21. I became a weekday morning anchor at 23 years old. Like, just because I put myself out there. I could have had that one experience, been like, nope, not for me, not for doing it. Nope, I just say, you know what? I'm washing my hands of that shit. I don't care. I'm not gonna sulk on it. I'm not gonna self-deprecate. I cannot stand people that self-deprecate. Take the lesson in it and move the fuck on. Like, not on my watch. Just do it, okay? There are so many like OG YouTubers that are like fucking famous as hell, and they started off with crumbs, honey. Crumbs. People who start streaming, they just had a phone and a dream, and so can you. I can't stand people who were like, well, I want to be a content creator, but I need the best phone, or I need the best editing software, or I need to lose 15 pounds, or I need to buy a whole new motherfucking wardrobe. No, you don't. You're making excuses for yourself, because that is easier for you to accept than failing. You have to let go of your fear of failing, or it will keep you stuck. Just do it. Just start the dream. Start at square one. Start with what you have, because I promise the people that care about you are going to support you regardless if the quality isn't that great, and the people that you attract along the way are just going to like you for you. Like, just do it. Like, stop with the fucking excuses. Number 18, which is a little bit lighter. Okay. Don't let disappointments turn you into a cynical person. I have been disappointed a lot in my life by people that I hold close to my heart, but I think I've noticed this past year that I still remain a pretty open person despite all of the things that have happened. Like, I still value the deepness of sisterhood, of family, of love and connection. Like, hell, even on a deeper level, and this is trigger warning. Trigger warning. On a deeper level, I was essayed in college like my first month at OU, and that shit could have ruined me. I could have spiraled. It could have made me hypersexual, or like, oh my god, I hate men, fuck men, I'm a lesbian now. Like, it could have, you know, it's real. Instead, I decided to compete in a pageant, and I wrote a poem about my essay, and I didn't tell anyone about it. Except for obviously like my pageant family, because they had to listen to the poem. But no one knew. No one in my family knew. None of my close friends in college knew. No one knew about it, and they were all there listening. But that was the easiest way for me to express what I'd been through, and then I ended up winning. And it was kind of an easy way too, because it was like, okay, everybody's here, so I ain't gotta talk about this more than once. Everybody just gather around the fire pit, okay? There's a recoupling. No, but then I won, and my platform was a self-love project, which has been like the theme of this entire episode. It's almost like I am a consistent human being. But yeah, I created the self-love project, which was a For Us By Us group of women who are survivors of any form of assault on campus or abuse. And it went crazy. Like, there were people from other Oklahoma schools like reaching out, being like, can I come, like, and that meant the world to me. These were women who were my friends, who never like even disclosed that they had been assaulted or abused before. And like, I made everybody sign NDAs, honey, because that wasn't going to be no pillow talk. You're not going to be saying you saw Keisha up at the self-love project. No ma'am, I didn't play. And I used that moment that changed my life for the betterment of, you know, creation, being creative, and also helping out other women. And I love that about myself, that I don't let things turn me into a cynical person. I just use it as like turning lemons into lemonade. Okay? Actually, in 2027, we're turning lemons into lemon drops, because can I get a shot with that? Next lesson, stop personalizing everything. 9 times out of 10, people are simply projecting. Stop taking things so personal. Accept it for what it is. Move on. Keep it the fuck pushing. Once you accept that people are simply projecting, life is so much more peaceful. Just move on. The next one, you can't love someone into loving themselves. This one's really hard for me, because one of the things that I believe that God put me on this earth to do is leave people better than I found them. Like, I love pouring into people and showing them, like, you can do whatever you want, girl. You're a bad bitch. Like, that is, like, I love uplifting others. But unfortunately, you can't force people to, like, love themselves. Like, they have to go through that journey on their own. You can want more for them, but if they don't do it, you can't force them. Like, you can really pour into somebody. I believe in you. You can leave that funky ass man, okay? But they have to do it on their own. Now, obviously, that's not abuse. Like, if people want to tolerate less, then let them. And that doesn't include abuse. Obviously, if something's getting abusive, I'm stepping in. I will pistol whip you, okay? But in a general sense, people have to go through their own journeys. Not every personal journey needs to turn into a group project. I know sometimes when people start a new chapter, okay, whether it's fitness, self-love, healing, singleness, they tend to be like, oh, we are on this journey. And it's like, no, baby, you are on that journey. Because the reality is, you don't know if the people you're speaking to have already silently gone through that journey, are silently going through it right now, or maybe they just don't want to do it. That they're not on the same timeline as you. Maybe it sounds good in theory, but like, yeah, maybe in 2 years I will be on that journey with you, or maybe I already did that shit 2 years ago. I just feel like people should do things out of reverence, not out of outside validation. And it's one thing to want to have an accountability partner, like, hey guys, I'm starting this, and I can be like, yes girl, I'm here with you, like, I'm gonna be checking in. Like, allow people to choose to be your accountability partner. Don't just assume that everybody's on the same timeline as you and or wants to be. The next one, celebrate all wins, not just the big ones. I feel like in a society that's centered around capitalism and consumerism and go, go, go and hustle bustle culture, we tend to brush off small victories, but honestly, celebrating all your wins, even just waking up, like, keeps you sane. Like, yes, I moved into my dream apartment. Could I be in the skyline and not just with the skyline view, yeah, but am I gonna sit around and be like, this just isn't, you know, this just isn't where I want to be? No, I am fully grateful for where I am, and I'm so excited. I remember when I just got my job. I'm not even kidding. I just got my job. Like, I was there for like less than a month, and someone in my family was like, so what's next? Damn, can I get a paycheck first? Can I just really actually enjoy my job? Like, I'm not even thinking about what's next. I'm being grateful for where I am. I'm showing gratitude to God for getting me here, for getting me this job, for getting me this apartment. And I just feel like all your wins are wins. Big or small, celebrate them. Next, other people's insecurities are not your problem. Like, I cannot stand when people are just like self-deprecating all the time. I'm not joining in. That is a conversation I'll pick up my phone, because you're not about to drag me down there with you, honey. I love myself and I give myself grace. I may not always think I look the best, but I'm not gonna just like sit up here and like talk shit about myself. Like, what's the fun in that? No, I look fabulous. Next. Life is hard enough, okay? I'm not going to be the first person to call me ugly, and I'm not going to be the first person to tell me no. I can let my haters do that. And good night. If your response to someone confiding in you about someone's actions and you say that's just how they are, you are enabling behavior. You're not staying neutral. You're picking a side, and it is often not the side of the person who is actually hurt. Because you're telling one grown-ass person that another grown-ass person is incapable of growth and change because that's just how they are. Or if it's like family and it's just like, well, that's your whatever. I don't give a fuck. Why do we never say that to the person who did the harmful actions? Why don't we ever say, when they tell you, this is what I did to Mariah, why don't they ever say, well, that's your... Why would you do that? Why do I have to quiet my own feelings about, which is a response to hurt that someone else caused, and just say, well, that's just how they are? But what they are is some bullshit, okay? What show is that from? Real Housewives? I don't know. Next one, don't force yourself to be the bigger person where you didn't create the discomfort. That kind of, you know, also plays into the last lesson. I feel like a lot of times we try to suck things up because we care about that person. We don't want them to walk away. But if they can't have one uncomfortable conversation about your feelings, then they obviously don't need to be in your life. So you might as well just clear the air respectfully, kindly, I feel statements, and just hope that they can be receptive. I think that a lot of times people who aren't receptive to conflict, it's because they're seeing it as you are attacking them, but you aren't attacking them. You just don't like the behavior. You've separated them from the behavior, but they think that you're saying, I'm a horrible fucking person. No one said that. What you did was fucked up. I'm not saying you're a bad person. Learn to separate you from your behavior, and the world will be a happier place. Last one, if a confident woman crosses your path, how you respond says a lot about you. And this has a lot to do with, like, I think social media. Like, there was like this, I could go on and on about the bean soup theory. That's another episode. But if you see a successful woman coming across your life, scrolling on social media, and your first instinct is like to spread hate or negativity or say like, oh, they did X, Y, and Z to get to that point, then it's time for you to look inward. I say this with love. I'm holding your hand with a napkin in between. It's time to look inward, because me personally, I love to see women succeed. I love it. Bonus points if it's a black woman, okay? We're all winning. I don't see any black woman winning as my win. I don't care. And I just feel like a lot of times people struggle with naming this one particular emotion, which is jealousy, which is a big word for Elmo. But it's the truth, and it's a human emotion. And I feel like if more people could just say like, hey, seeing you win kind of made me a little bit insecure. And I needed to look inward and figure out why I was feeling that way about my girl. The world would be a happier place if more people were honest about that instead of projecting, you know? So tell the black woman she looks beautiful today. That is the biggest lesson that you can take away from this. Tell the black woman she looks beautiful and she's glowing and she's fabulous and she's killing it. Thank you guys so much for listening, for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, rate, review. Also comment what big life lesson you've learned over your years, or what's the biggest takeaway from this video. I'd love to just sit and chat with you guys. That is everything, guys. I can't wait for 27. I feel like it's gonna be a year of bliss and abundance and positivity. I'm claiming it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye, guys.